Chris Sewall here, baseball card collector, investor, dealer, in that order. Welcome everyone. Going to start sprinkling in some personal collection videos here and there to the channel. It's just a lot of people have been requesting them. My personal collection is very large, so I wasn't really sure how to break it up into videos, but you know, originally was going to do sort of like a top 10 favorite cards for my PC, but I couldn't just come up with just 10 or just 20. So here I more or less just selected out 10 cards from my PC that have some sort of nice story behind them. That's really all it is. Other than that, it's basically just random. But you know, let me know if people enjoy this format. As I can make a bunch of these sort of videos if people really like them. Please let me know what you think in the comments. But yeah, here are 10 cards from my PC and the stories behind them. So growing up, my favorite player was Cal Ripken, and this card here was the absolute dream card. It's a 1992 Donruss Elite Signature Series. I mean, this card is one of the first really rare insert cards in all the hobby, and you can see it's serial numbered out of 5,000, which doesn't may seem like a lot for today's standards, but back in the day that was super rare. This is one of the first ever insert sets. It's the first autograph of Cal Ripken. It's one of the first autograph cards ever in all of the sports card hobby. It's not the first, but it's probably one of the first, 5 or 10. I mean, just sort of a cool card historically. You know, this card was way out of my price range back when I was a kid, 13 years old. But, today, I'm an adult doing all right. So pick one up whenever I get the chance. I think I got, looks like 6 of them here now. 2 of them are graded by PSA. They're both PSA Authentics with DNA 10s for the autos. But they'd grade plenty high. I'm not sure why the the card didn't get a grade. But like I said, they'd all grade high. Cool card. It's, maybe one of my favorites of all time. I've always been a huge fan of baseball history, and it's just a incredible history that it has. Really more so than any other sport, because it goes back hundreds of years. This is my oldest card in my collection. It's tied for the oldest. I have a couple of cards from this set, but it's an 1887 Allen and Ginter John Clarkson. He's a Hall of Famer, Hall of Fame pitcher for Boston, at least in this photo. It's an SGC3. I mean, really nice looking card for 130 plus years old, and for cards from this era, I just think they look best in the SGC holders. It's a really nice way to present your card. And this isn't just sort of baseball history. It's like U.S. history. I mean, this guy was born during the Civil War, probably. I mean, incredible just to think about. Imagine what life would have been like 130 years ago. Pitching. I don't know. Before internet, before TV and phones and cameras and all that. Cool. So I was always a Washington football fan, and I still am today, but Barry Sanders was my favorite player of all time. He was awesome. This is his most iconic card, 1989 score rookie, PSA 10. I actually kind of like the Topps Traded more. I think it looks nicer, but the score is a lot rare and sort of more valuable and more hobby historically significant. Let me show you a clip of one of his runs from against the Cowboys in 1991.
Yeah, but people had to make up signs like that. I mean, they ought to just, go to their homes and read books.
Sanders still on his feet, and Sanders is gone.
I mean, what was so awesome about Barry Sanders is just how ridiculous he made the defenders look. I mean, look at the Cowboys here. You got this guy tackling his own guy here, and this guy's tackling his own guy again, and then this guy thinks the play is long over, but it wasn't, and this guy's ankles are just broken in half, and Barry Sanders is off to the races. Love it. Anyway, this card was an absolute fantasy card for me as a kid. Just could never have afforded it back then, and at some point over the years, I picked myself up a PSA 10. Sort of my favorite player. I don't remember what I paid for it. Probably $100 or $200. I mean, I got it long before the boom. It's gone way up since then, but that's not the point. It's my favorite player. Top rookie card, top grade. I've mentioned this card a couple of times before and told the story behind it. This card was in the first ever pack I ever got, 1988 Donruss pack back in 1988. I would have been 9 years old, and I pulled this card as well as the Cal Ripken card, but I didn't know anything about baseball or Mark McGwire, but my friend desperately wanted this card, and I refused to trade it just because he wanted it, and somehow I've held on to it for 33 years now. It's sort of my number one dime card. If you know the DuckTales reference, you can see it's not in very good shape. Maybe PSA 3 quality. Pretty rough corners, as I imagine I played with it, quite a bit back when I was a kid, and it's worth maybe 10 cents or so. But sorry guys, I'm Not selling. It's not for sale. It's staying in my PC. Here's a Bird Magic rookie, 1980 tops. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson rookie. It's also got Julius Erving in the middle, and all three guys have signed the card there, you can see. So I had a friend who had 5 of these. They were all signed by Bird and Magic, but they hadn't been signed by Julius Erving yet. And Dr. J was signing at one of the Nationals. I think it was 2017, but I'm not sure. It might have been 2018 or 16. But my friend couldn't go that year, and I was going, and he asked me to take all 5 and get them signed by Julius Erving, which I did, and stood in line for a while. And Julius Erving signed all 5. He thought it was really cool that I had 5 of them. He was a super nice guy. I only talked to him for 45 seconds or whatever. But anyway, got all 5 and brought them home to my friend, and he gave me one of them just as a thank you. He gave me this one here. I sent it to PSA, and it got a PSA 6 and a 10 for the auto. I mean, just a really cool card. I don't think there's another card in sports card history that has the rookie cards of 2 legends of this status on one card. So and then Julius Erving, another all-time great, is in the middle there as well. So very cool card, and very cool that it's autographed by all 3. I like this one. I absolutely love pre-war oddball stuff. This is a 1928 Farps ice cream, Lou Gehrig, probably a card most people have never seen before. It's ultra rare. I mean, and Gehrig's, most people would call his rookie card 1933 Goudey, so this is technically a pre-rookie, and it's an SGC 2.5. To give you an idea how rare this card is, it's only been graded 7 times in any grade ever by SGC, and it's only been graded 8 times ever by PSA in any grade. So there's only been 15 copies ever graded ever in any grade. This is actually the second highest copy ever graded by SGC. Most of them are authentics and ones. So yeah, this is probably one of the 5 nicest copies on on the planet. I don't know. It's not a card that like a bunch of people are seeking, but there has not been a sale of one on eBay since 2018, to give you a sense for how tough a card it is to find. If I ever do decide to sell it, which I don't intend to at the moment, I can basically set my own ice game prices. There's just no competition for it. I like stuff like this. I got this card in one of my first ever large collection purchases when I first kind of got back in the hobby around 2011 or so. This is, I think, a 2009 UD Ballpark dual auto. It's of course got my guy on there, Cal Ripken Jr., and then Derek Jeter at the top, dual auto, dual patch, and it's also serial numbered out of 10, and it's actually serial 8 of 10, and 8 was Cal Ripken's jersey number, so added bonus there. But I remember getting this card. I bought a collection that had a bunch of jerseys and autos, and I really didn't know a lot about jerseys and autos at the time because I'd been out of the hobby for maybe 10 years, and I took it to a dealer and just asked, what would you pay for the whole thing, and he actually pulled this card aside and said, just so you know, this card's worth many hundreds of dollars. I wouldn't bulk batch this in with the rest of them, and I decided to keep it because it's obviously Ripken, and actually made good friends with that dealer. Thought he was super honest, and still friends with him today. Here's one of the more valuable cards I own. It's a 1951 Bowman Willie Mays rookie, PSA 6. I actually bought this at a show right before everything sort of shut down, February 2020 at the Philadelphia show. The cornerstone of my collection is sort of Hall of Fame vintage baseball rookie cards. I sort of try to get one of each guy. I don't really seek them out. I sort of just want to buy a collection. If there's one in there and it's nicer than one I've got, I keep the nicest copy, and it's sort of always upgrading. So, but for whatever reason, I just never had a Mays. I think at the time I had a PSA 1, and that just wasn't. I didn't find that was good enough for what I wanted. So I decided to seek this one out and at the show, and I settled on this one. It's a PSA 6. I actually paid $7,000 for it. So this is in just over a year ago. Really got lucky with the timing, as right before the 2020 price boom. Basically, it's probably worth 4 times that today or so. But it's a really nice looking 6. You can see the back here is really clean, and I don't know that I'd say it's sort of like an above average level 6. I'd say it's a standard looking 6. It's a little off center and has a little print defect down there by his arm, but pretty solid card, and all-time iconic card, of course. Check this out. This is really cool. So when I was a kid in the 90s, I used to send cards through the mail all the time to get autographed. That was done a lot back then. I don't think it's really done much anymore today, but most of the time you would just never get your card or hear anything back, and every once in a while somebody would sign something. But I sent one to Brooks Robinson at one point, a Hall of Famer for the Orioles, and not only did he sign my card, he hand wrote me this note. Chris, no player is going to return your cards unless you send a stamp and an envelope. Brooks Robinson, I mean, how cool is that? He's totally right. I mean, if you don't send a self-addressed stamped envelope, nobody's going to bother, but you really want to, minimize the work on the other end for the guy signing your cards. But I mean, seriously, Brooks Robinson taking the time to, write a note here for a 10-year-old fan or however old I was, nothing but respect for Brooks Robinson. And this is a really cool piece of history for me, and sort of something that I remember from my early childhood, and will keep forever for that reason. And we'll finish on a soccer card. This is a 2011 SP Game Used Significance autograph, Alex Morgan. It's actually serial numbered out of 10. It's actually serial numbered 01 of 10, which gives a little bit of a boost. I've mentioned a few times I'm a big fan of U.S. soccer, the men and the women, and particularly when it comes to the World Cup. And probably most people watching this are not overly familiar with Alex Morgan, but she's a major superstar for the U.S. women's national team. And her first year of cards, so her rookie cards, are 2011. She's got 3 autographs from that year. 2 of them are not serial numbered, and then this one, which is, like I said, serial numbered out of 10. You could very well, make the case that this is her single best card in the hobby. Probably is. I think most people would sort of agree with that. And this copy here is a Mint 9, PSA Mint 9. It's Pop 1. It's actually the only copy ever graded by PSA. So you could very well make the case that this card I'm holding here is the single best Alex Morgan card on the planet. I guess that's debatable, but I think it's kind of cool to be able to say that about any player, and particularly someone I'm a fan of anyway. So that's it. 10 of my favorite cards from my PC. I can do a bunch more of these videos, this sort of format, if people enjoyed them. So please let me know if you like this in the comments below. Have a great day. Thanks, guys.